Good morning. My name is Rob Newman. I am one of the partners at Carter, Collins and Meyer, accountants in North Manchester. We look after owner-managed businesses and small micro businesses, landlords, CICs across Greater Manchester, Lancashire and Cheshire. Today's video follows directly on from a previous one in March. I talked about HMRC debt and pressure previously, and today I'm going to talk about cash flow management and cash flow forecasting. Now, this is one of those subjects that people can get quite scared at and think it's quite technical and quite advanced and deep. And I'm not going to be producing Excel spreadsheets for you, and I'm not actually going to be showing you any specifics of today. I'm just going to talk you through the process because it really isn't complicated. It really isn't what you think it is. It's not some deep scientific skill that only accountants can possibly do. Indeed, it's no different than you creating a budget for your home. It's exactly the same as you managing your own cash in your own life. One of the core things to do is to have a separate bank account for your trade and activities. Separate it from your life. Have your life and your business in two separate bundles, folders. And there's plenty of ways of doing this. Most of these new challenger banks that are not that new and not that challenging anymore because they've been around since the financial crash, but people like Tide, Starling, Monzo, Metal will offer quite simple opening bank accounts and allow you to have pots within those bank accounts. You have your own, you have the trade, the business, whatever you want to call it. Just like you would if you're doing it for yourself, you take the last 12 weeks worth of your bank statements, the last 12 weeks worth of what has happened and gone on, and look at it. Piece of paper, Excel spreadsheet, whatever. You don't need sophisticated software, but group stuff together. If you're doing it for yourself, you group how much you've spent on the supermarket, how much your car has cost, what petrol expenses you've had, how much you're spending on clothes and entertainment. And once you've grouped it for the last 3 months and looked at it, you then scare yourself with how much you're spending on burgers or takeaways or whatever it is that you spend loads of money on. And you think, gosh, I'm going to have to cut that down and I'm going to have to spend a lot less than that going forwards. It's the same thing in business. Take your business bank statements, take what's gone on through there and group it. Group the income, treat that as one thing. Group the expenses. The expenses you're going to have probably a lot more control over than the income side of things. On those expenses, you can then look at how much does my van cost me? How much am I spending on cost of coffee? What am I putting through for suppliers and what am I doing for X, Y, and Z? Once you've grouped it and looked at it and seen it, you've basically got a cash flow plan. You've got the future. You can see when things happen, what happens, and then it's listing it down. And the best way to list it down is to have the months across the top and the expenses down the side. You have a line for income and you have a line for each type of expense. And then estimate, put in your opening bank balance, guess how much income you're going to get. If you're in an established, steady sole trade, you're going to be able to know roughly what you earn in a month. Then list out the expenses down the bottom. This isn't a fancy accounting thing. You're just guessing. Then add those up, add on the opening balance, add on the income, take off the expenses, come to a closing balance. At the end of the first month, see how close your closing balance has come to your bank. If it's close, you're pretty much there. If it's not, go back and look where you guessed wrong. Within 3 months, I can tell you, you'll end up within 1 or 2% of your bank balance. It's a very straightforward process. It's a very iterative process. As I say, you can have this on a piece of paper. One of the best businesses I've ever dealt with, and unfortunately, God rest his soul, the guy died a couple of years ago, but he used to keep this on a big piece of A3 onto it. He had a piece of A3, he'd chart this out. And at the end of a year, not only was he running his cash, he then also knew what profit and losses he was making as well. And he'd tell me before I even started his accounts, I reckon I've made £150,000 this year, and he'd be within 1 or 2% of wherever he was. But Jeff never, ever lost control of what was going on because he always knew exactly what was coming in and what was going out. Now, once you've got the basics, it can become more and more sophisticated and more complicated, and you can start having other things built into it. You can guess when people are going to pay you. You can start highlighting the differences in some customers over the others. But that iterative process of what's happening is straightforward. The next level of it is not to actually start guessing the ins and outs. The next level is stress test it. If my income went down 10% and my expenses went up 10%, where do I end up? And you can, if you're doing this on an Excel spreadsheet, that's really easy to put into effect because you can put quite a simple formula in place to see what would happen. And if my expenses moved here or did that, or I took on a new shop, or I bought a new piece of equipment, or I got a new car, or any of those other stuff that you have to do on a day-to-day basis, you can simply plug that line in, make sure it's still all totals and adds up, and see where your cash ends up. Now, I can tell you time and time again, small businesses I work with would be utterly transformed if they did that before going out and buying a new car or a new van, because they do it on the hope that it'll all be okay, or I need a new car, without actually working out whether they can afford it or not. And sometimes it will, not only can you afford it now, but could I afford it if I looked at things differently? Because one of the things that I guarantee you will have direct debits set up on your bank account that are no longer needed. They'll be nonsense. They'll be for things that you've long ago stopped. And indeed, one of the disciplines I have in my own business is I actually cancel all my direct debits every single year. And only when people start screaming as suppliers do I set them back up again. Not that I'm trying to do anybody out of paying, but the number of times do I actually realize how much of it has crept up on me for subscriptions to things and processes that I don't use anymore. How many TV channels are you paying for right now that you probably don't even watch? As it happens, I looked at this at the weekend. I was paying for 5 TV channels, most of which I don't watch anymore because I was only watching one program on them, one series that has now stopped, finished, come to an end, in pause, and I'm still paying for it. I'm still paying for that TV channel that I've basically forgotten about. And you suddenly find it adds up because the 5 TV channels I was paying for was coming out about 80 quid a month. So that stress testing, that cancelling, that looking through is part of a real process. It's not loads and loads of work. It's a couple of hours a month sat in Costa on a Tuesday morning. And one of the other benefits of this is if you still get in trouble and you still end up in some sort of debt situation, one of the strongest things you can do to protect yourself against claims of misfeasance or being a bad director is actually show that you've done this. If you've got history of this that you can produce as a piece of paper, as an Excel spreadsheet, and either have worked with professionals to make this happen, or it's there, you can produce that to HMRC, you can produce that to insolvency practitioners, you can produce that to a load of different people and show that you gave this thought. You put effort, energy and time into looking after your business and your finances, and it will give you a massive layer of protection. It's one of the best insurance policies that you could actually have. So not only is it a good discipline, not only will you learn a lot from it, not only will it protect you from spending money you shouldn't spend and making decisions that were silly. It's not complicated. It's not highfalutin accountancy. It's a basic piece of paper, Excel spreadsheet, income across the top, expenses down the side, matching one against the other, and it's a couple of hours a month. That's it. That's all there is to it. It reduces invisibility. It improves your own foresight of what you can do, and it sets up a load of guardrails for your business. So creating a structured cash flow is one of the best things you can do to get control, protect your finances, and keep within the right side of everything. If you need any help with that, we do run some more videos on this. We do some masterclasses on this. I've done some work with Greater Manchester Chamber of Commerce to actually deliver some of this in longer form. People are always amazed about how easy it is when they actually see it. Or you can reach out directly. You've got these videos you can see. I put a lot of articles out on our website, and I'm on LinkedIn every day. I live on LinkedIn. If you want to contact me, that's one of the best ways to do it. My name's Rob Newman. I am from Carter, Collins and Meyer Accountants, North Manchester, looking after owner-managed businesses.